Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning, and I hope everybody had a fabulous Easter. This is going to be video one of our series, and this is interesting because an article came out that Meghan, in the very beginning, people saw signs that she was not suited for royal life, which of course we all know now she absolutely was not. But I've got all kinds of examples of this, so let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. A royal reporter who in 2018, she was 1 month into her new job, and she went to one of the very first royal visits by Meghan Markle. And she said, this was just one of a few photo calls that was made by the newly married couple. And she said almost immediately she could see that there were red flags, that there was going to be a problem. She says, I remember standing there, even as a new reporter, in the media pen on the opposite end, noting that Meghan seemed extremely uncomfortable. Harry looked fine and at ease, cracking jokes, etc., etc. Meghan did not look happy. Now, let me tell you why she didn't look happy. Meghan from the beginning wanted to be adored like Diana. She wanted to walk, have crowds screaming her name. She was always in a rush to get in front of Harry. Protocol demanded that she go behind Harry. But I think she started to slowly but surely brainwash Harry. She would interrupt him, step right in front of him. Right after the wedding, she's like, she's supposed to walk after him. Then they started going on royal engagements, and she literally was directing him what to do. I mean, look at Harry here. He's totally shocked that he's going first because I think Meghan literally brainwashed him that she should always be first because that's the feminist way. She's the woman. She should be first. I literally think she brainwashed Harry. She went first and made sure that her picture was taken. In some instances, he pushed her forward because I think he thought that's what she wanted. And then she acted like, here, Harry, come forward. Say hello, Harry. She wanted people to adore her. She wanted the applause. She wanted the spotlight. Even when they were on tour, especially once she got pregnant, she was constantly barging her way in front of Harry. Here they are to see the King of Morocco. They're side by side, they're walking in, they stop for their pictures, and then as soon as they get inside, Meghan shoved her way in front of Harry so that she could be introduced first. And one of the royal reporters there definitely had something to say about that. Have you guys heard this? And this became a theme because Harry didn't take her in hand. She was always rushing in front so she could meet people first. And she's always in a rush when she's meeting them. That's another thing that a lot of people noted. She wanted to just meet them and get out of there. No matter where they were, no matter what they were doing, whether they were staying, whether they were going, whether this is before Megxit, whether this is after Megxit, she made it clear that she was to be in front. But for her, it was, let me shake your hand and let me move on. She never took the time. Here's a prime example. Remember when Harry was invited to speak at the Intrepid at an American Awards event where he had them play God Save the Queen? She let Harry go first. Harry introduced her to the person that he had just met. And then Harry's looking at her like, where are you going? And Meghan just runs down the line, meeting people, takes no time to really have any conversations with them. It's just hello, hello, hello. Then she gets to the end with the only gentleman with any melanin in his skin, and she decides that that's where she's going to stop and speak until Harry catches up. Now, for those of you who may not remember, this is where as soon as Harry made it down to the end, she grabs Harry's hand and goes, shall we? And Harry immediately removes his hand, goes back to the beginning and starts talking some more. Because this is Meghan's whole thing. She just wants to get in there and get out. She wants to walk the carpet in her dress, have people admire her, and then stop. But then there were a few events that she was unhappy. She was very unhappy here. She ignored this kid as best she could, and she took the kid's hand away from her. I mean, look at the kid. She obviously didn't like the kid. She didn't like what was happening. She was also uncomfortable when she went to visit this old age home. What I found is that Meghan is only comfortable when she's dressed up in the spotlight shaking hands. If she actually has to, make small talk, whatever, then she's uncomfortable. She's very uncomfortable sitting there swaying back and forth. She doesn't want to be there. She wants to be walking a red carpet somewhere. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So going back to the event that the Royal Reporter went to in 2018, what the Royal Reporter noted was that, first of all, Meghan was dressed inappropriately. When Catherine would go to an event, she would wear trainers, sneakers, shorts, athletic wear. She would be dressed appropriately. Meghan showed up in 6-inch spike heels, completely inappropriately dressed. Number two, you could tell that she just was not into what was going on. She was somewhat embarrassed. She's not athletic in any way, which is probably why her entire deal was just to stand there and catch a ball and throw it the other direction. And that was all they had her do because she wasn't dressed appropriately and she's not athletic. Number three, she couldn't keep her hands away from her hair. She was constantly fixing her hair, trying to make herself look better for the camera. And one of the other big things that everybody noticed was that she was very clingy to Harry. She kept clinging to him throughout the day. And if he moved away, she followed right behind. Even if she was having her own conversation with her student, with a student, she made sure that Harry was very nearby. It was 2 months later when this same Royal Reporter went with William and Catherine to a memorial service for people killed in a helicopter crash, and that took place on October 27th. She said it was a much more difficult visit because you have to show poise, calm, and sympathy. And she finished up by saying if Meghan had taken a little bit more time and noticed how Catherine conducted herself in these kinds of visits, then a lot of the mess that Harry and Meghan found themselves in could have been avoided. But let's face it, guys, we know that Meghan doesn't take advice from anybody because she knows best, or so she thinks she does. In my opinion, Meghan's biggest problem is that she didn't want to work. She has no work ethic. It's the same thing now with her and Harry working an hour a week. She wants the money to come in. She wants the people to love her. People should scream her name, but she doesn't want to put in the effort. And that's always been the biggest problem with her. All right, you guys. Ooh, some information. All right, follow me over to video 2 because we have a lot more to cover. Let's go.